Greetings, pilgrims. I went out today and I bought some 150 watt equivalent compact fluorescent lamps. Um, my mother has a problem reading. Actually, all old people have a hard time, including me, reading in low light. It's hard to focus because your pupils are too big, and it works like a pinhole camera. As the light gets more intense, your pupils get smaller, and things come into better focus. And I guess your photosensitive material in your eye basically gets more energy to translate what you see into some sort of image so you can react to it. Anyhow, um, by the way, happy birthday, Uncle Frank. 93 years old, down in Naples. He's forgotten more than I'll ever know. Brilliant man. Of course, all my uncles were brilliant. Anyhow, went down to Borders today, and they're closing it down. It was a great place to go. They had expensive coffee, but it was worth it because you got a chance to look at a lot of different magazines. And used to go there a lot with my daughter Jayla, and she was always learning about some specific field, and so we bought a lot of books down there. And of course, they never had the Scrabble dictionary that when you wanted. The officials, that was always out, especially around Christmas time. I found that the books that I really was interested in were available from Amazon, which is getting kind of expensive too. But they had books of some very interesting things, alternative energy, including windmills, solar, hydro, mini hydro, micro hydro, building your own windmills and using permanent magnets to make the generators. All kinds of neat systems that people have tried, some with great success, some with minimal success, but the beauty of it is that people are trying to come up with different types of shelters and the like, and found very few books at Borders that had anything to do with any type of alternative type of living. To me, one of the joys that I've always had was the concept of being self-sufficient. I managed to buy some junk property down in Texas around Van Horn, actually closer to Lobo, Texas, and Pecos. I was able to get down and see my land in Pecos and one piece in Van Horn. I want to build some sort of basic adobe, or build one hell of a super small trailer with super insulation in it, and probably sink some earth tubes. Part of the advantage of having an in-the-ground shelter or on-the-ground shelter, like something permanent, is the fact that you have the earth as a heat sink. Now, if you happen to have a trailer that's well insulated and sheltered from the wind with a nice skirt, it still would be nice to have they call them heat pipes. It's a bunch of flexible corrugated piping buried as deep as you can under the ground, so when you draw air into it, if it's very cold out, it preheats the air before it enters your shelter. It makes it warmer. If it's really hot out, you cool the air. You can circulate the cool of your building through these tubes, and the air comes out much cooler than it was. Anyhow, I digress, as they say. So the amount of or type of books that they had at Borders really wasn't of interest to me. I bought a few books on some alternative building thing, but there was nothing really over the top. Obviously, you can go to the library, you can get all kinds of books on airplanes and all the classic airplanes, all the classic cars, all the this and that. I was never able to find the official Scrabble dictionary there. I think I had to buy that on the internet. So I think their model was really wrong. You encourage, people to come and sit or hang out, read the magazines, and yeah, sure, you make a few extra percentage points on the coffee and some of the pastries and the like. And they had Wi-Fi there. It's a shame that it couldn't continue, but there's alternatives from the standpoint of just getting books. Um, and I think for me, this land in Texas is like the last frontier. It's kind of like the ability to go to Mars and settle Mars. Unfortunately, you know, the powers to be don't want you to settle Mars. They want you to stay in the rat race and pay exorbitant rents, pay exorbitant taxes. They set up zoning so you can't build a small house. They want you to build a humongous house, which you have to heat. So all these people are looking out for society. They're not looking out for society. They're looking out for the banks. They want you to finance phenomenal amounts of mortgage debt, and they don't want you to pay it off. And that means you use more oil to heat your house, use more electricity to light your house up. Yes, they have some areas where they want you to be more efficient, but that efficiency comes at a cost, which means the bankers are making money. And then they want to force you to get health insurance, so you don't have any discretionary money left. And you know, they're trying to force you to go into medical procedures that might extend your life another year or something. But in the process of extending your life a year or two, you are sacrificing the rest of your life to pay for this. And it's totally insane. It's totally crazy. It's totally unconstitutional. But that's just me, you know. Perhaps what is it, march to the beat of a different drummer? I don't know. But I do know that a lot of people died to protect our liberties, and now we have people in office now who don't care about your liberties. They don't care about the process or the electoral process. But you have to understand, we did not get to where we are today by one party. I think the problem is that you folks have been convinced that either the Democrats are pricks or the Republicans are pricks. I can see in my Facebook accounts that when I come up with something which catches Obama in the act of really some flagrant stuff, and like you know, Bush was the same way. The people who love Obama, they don't care what he does. You know, they'll come up with they'll say, well, you know, Rush Limbaugh's a jerk, and you know, the bearer of the message is a jerk. I mean, recently Rush has been pretty damn good. I normally didn't listen to him, but in these times when you have to, just for your own sanity's sake, figure that someone else might figure this thing out like you have. And it's not that I'm agreeing with Rush because I don't in many areas, but the fact, I mean, he's no jerk. I mean, there's Glenn Beck, and these people come up with things that the mainstream media doesn't want to touch. And no one seems to get it. I shouldn't say no one seems to get it, because I think Fox News is pretty popular. And of course, these same people, liberals who want this to express themselves, they would, if they could press a button and blow up Fox News, they would. It's a very strange thing that is going on, and I really wish I could understand people where they're coming from. But there's something going on. What you should do is get on the YouTube and look up graduation party hypnosis, and you will see these kids at the snap of a finger turned into zombies by hypnotists. Now, if they can do that in such a short period of time, what the hell what are they doing to us in the news broadcasts, the subliminal messages? And you can hear them when they're trying to push some sort of agenda. They have these little stories that kind of have a certain slant to them, and you know what they're trying to do. They're trying to either desensitize us or get us ready it's very interesting that we have everybody convinced about the poor Egyptians, and they were poor, but so are the Iranians, and somehow it's okay for the Iranians to shoot people and make them disappear, or even the Chinese to shoot people and make them disappear. That's okay, but the Egyptians, people on our side, we can't have that happen. And then of course Gaddafi. When you think about it, I mean, if you were the president of a country, what would you do? I mean, I don't think anybody thinks they're a bad guy. I'm sure robbers and murderers. Look in the mirror in the morning. They wash their face, brush their teeth, shave. I don't think they look at them and say, "You terrible person." So, Gaddafi wants to stay in power, and if people are trying to take away your power, what do? I mean, what do you think Obama would do if we all went down tomorrow? We all go down to Washington and say, "We want you out." We start, screaming and yelling out there and blocking traffic and stopping commerce and, threatening to rush the White House. What do you think exactly would happen? I mean, I was down there with the Tea Party people down in Washington, and they purposely did not have one porta-john there at all. You had to walk like, I don't know, half a mile to go to the bathroom, and everybody picked up. And they're saying how terrible we were. Now the people are in Wisconsin screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering and stopping, trying to shut down the government, and that's fine. That's good. But the people who are interested in the U.S. constitutional rights, they're pricks, according to many of these people. The Tea Party is no panacea, but it's the only thing we have going for us because we didn't get where we are now by either the Democrats or the Republicans. And I have people that respond to some of my Facebook things, and whatever I come up with relating to the fact that Obama has done some serious transgressions. They say, well, Rush is this, or Glenn Beck is that. So I try to find sources other than that. But it doesn't seem to matter. It's like Chairman Obama can do no wrong. And, from their standpoint, all Democrats are wonderful, and all Republicans love to starve children and beat up old people and SEALs, with clubs. I mean, that's how we get our kicks. And I don't even consider myself a Republican. Like I said, I was, as far as I'm concerned, Bush should be in jail for what he did on the border and how he allowed that drug traffic to continue. And that drug traffic is bought and paid for. You can't tell me any differently. We have a lot of people getting killed over this drug traffic, but that's the price of doing business. And we moan and groan as to how terrible it is, but everybody's doing their drugs, getting high, having fun, doing their parties, and that's the way of life. And it's not going to. I guess they've always done it, and it's not going to get any better. When you figure, I think about 50-60% of the incomes from the attorneys are from drugs. I mean, why would they want to stop this? You have it's a growth industry. You have judges rejudging the same people. Instead of following the trail up as to, I remember Nancy Reagan said this thing: just say no. It should be just know who you bought your crap from, because if you get busted, you're going to have to turn them in. If you're not prepared to turn them in, you're going to go away for a long time. So if they just did that simple thing, I think the supply of drugs would kind of dry up a little bit. And if someone wants to, get a permit to grow his pot for his own use, not for anybody else, with the right precautions of fencing and security alarms and all that, and he's allowed so many plants, look, these people are going to get it anyhow. And you might as well not make the mafia or whatever, the Colombians rich. Anyhow, I'm running out of time on this thing. Thanks for bearing with me. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Take care. Bye-bye.